Hey, you random stranger. It is good to have you back for another bout of Houseki no Kuni, and I hope you've been enjoying well these past few weeks and that you are ready for whatever it is that's coming at us next, because we are about to find out what happens now that, well, after that huge bombshell of a reveal that Phos is going to get a completely new head, Lapis's head to be exact. And there is so much that we have to talk through before diving in. And as always, there were some really astute comments from you guys, which I also want to highlight. So let's start with how I think at this stage of the story, we are going full steam ahead on the ship of Theseus. And so the ship of Theseus is something that was brought up in one of the reactions in the anime episodes. But to quickly recap, it is an old thought experiment that deals with questions of identity and how it changes over time. In the original version of the puzzle, the Greek hero Theseus has just returned home to Athens after having fought and defeated the Minotaur. And so the Athenians, over the years and the centuries, preserved the ship, by repairing it wherever necessary. And at some stage, all of the planks of the original ship have been replaced. And so the question is this ship still Theseus's ship? Is Phos, with so many parts of them replaced with new materials, still the same Phos that we started out with in volume 1? Or more accurately, is this still Phos? And of course, there are many approaches to somewhat resolve this puzzle, and often it boils down to semantics. So in other words, how you start out defining what identity is. Me personally, I subscribe more to the four-dimensional approach to the Ship of Theseus puzzle, which, without getting too deep into the weeds as to how space-time works, proposes that the identity of a person or an object exists in 3 dimensions of space plus the 4th dimension of time. So while something may take on different forms in 3-dimensional space at any given point or slice in time, those forms are still forms of the same object's identity, which exists across time. Like, an easier way to think about it is the example of how you can step into a river twice, and conceptually it will be the same river, just a different form of the river each time you step in it because of the change in water flow. So in relation to Phos, rather than thinking of it as Phos losing bits of their identity each time a part of them is physically replaced, it's more that they are evolving Pokemon style into this more gritty, trauma-ridden version of themselves over time. And it's much like we go through our lives. Our personalities and our ways of thinking change, sometimes very drastically, even as we remain conceptually the same person. Another perspective, I guess, from which to think about it is that to the other gems, Phos is still Phos because there's still that space-time continuity of who Phos is in their minds as well as in their relationships with Phos, despite Phos going through these huge physical and personality changes. Granted, it's a bit more complicated with gems because their physical replacements are tied in with their memories, which are integral to identity, but overall, I do think that as a literary device, Phos's physical changes are ultimately a shocking visual representation of the mental or the inner changes that Phos is going through. So that is the Ship of Theseus stuff. Let me know what you guys think. I just feel like it's one of those things where even if you fold your mind into a pretzel, you'll never get to a completely satisfactory answer, which I guess is why we all love Houseki no Kuni. Yeah, anyway, I do have some comment shoutouts. The first is from Ingrid Pamela Gonzalez Evia, who wrote that in their country, so similar to what I said about Asian cultures, that a lot of people who suffer from depression or anxiety try to hide it and don't seek help because society sees it as something to be ashamed of. Yeah, the treatment of mental health as a health issue in different parts of the world. And it was interesting hearing that it's sort of similar in where you are as well. Huge strides have been made, but at the same time, there's still so much more striving for acceptance to be done. And I guess in our own circles, we can help that along a little bit by even just reassuring someone that it's okay to admit that you're not okay and that there are avenues of help, including professional ones. Um, Ingrid also mentioned the ice floes, which I've not thought too much about since the Antarctic days, the good old Antarctic days. So this was fascinating. Um, Phos commenting about the ice floes having worried about her puts into question how much of fault Phos really had in the arms losing incident. Until now, it was pressed that the ice floes reflected Phos's own insecurities like a mirror without sentience. This is the first time the series implies that the ice floes have any sort of awareness or motivation. Great point. And I would like to point out that this idea of the ice floes simply being passive reflections of your own insecurities is something that Sus Sensei has been peddling. So it's making me think that ice floes are possibly more than that they might actually be beings with independent thoughts. Or it could, possibly be both. We know that the ice floes have trapped in them inclusions of beings from long ago. So it might be that whenever a gem comes nearby or comes close, that gem's emotions trigger those inclusions somehow, and whatever thoughts and memories are trapped in them, those then get twisted into conversations that sound relatable to the gem. Yeah, I'm not really sure, but it's interesting to think about. Also on the ice floes, Sarah Rain pointed out that they seem to be more understandable the more one's own heart wavers, reflecting one's own emotions. Antark couldn't understand that at all, while Phos can just about have conversations. I wonder if Cinnabar can hear them. I really like the idea that the more in your feelings you are, the more able you are to tap into the ice flow social network. So the image of Cinnabar and Phos doing the In My Feelings challenge to the Drake song just flashed across my mind, and it was wonderful. Anyway, Cinnabar. So yeah, I do think that they, out of all of the gems, probably have the best shot at understanding the ice floes, or at least hearing something. The weird thing that I can't figure out is that if none of the other gems have ever heard the ice floes make any sense, how is it that Kongo Sensei knew that they spoke words, and that those speaking of those words is just them reflecting one's own insecurities? Either he himself has heard the ice floes, or he's just drawing from some previous knowledge that ice floes contain, as he says, these dregs of humanity who have retained just enough consciousness to be able to feed on and stoke negative feelings, but nothing beyond that. I hope we do find out more about the ice floes in the future, because the more I think about it, the more I know that I don't know too much about them. There were also some interesting thoughts about gem consciousness and what it suggests about how inclusions work. So from Michael Gorin, seeing that Phos lost consciousness after losing their head in the same way Zircon did makes me think that inclusions in the head are more tightly packed and make a bigger portion of the overall amount. Yeah, I think there's some evidence to suggest that. Similarly, Danny12 also talked about how loss of consciousness follows head loss, and that gems can lose consciousness if they are missing large pieces of their torso like Padpa, but losing limbs doesn't seem to have any effect. See, this I found interesting. and makes me think that there is something there to the importance of the head and the heart duality, even for gems. So Danny 12 then goes on to address the implications of that, which is that from an inclusion standpoint, you would assume that they are distributed equally across the body, and hence so would their consciousness and memories, which is what I had thought as well. But then they write, but thinking from a human perspective, the heart and the mind take seat in the torso and the head. Yeah, so that's that head-heart duality. Maybe there is something different with the inclusions there. We usually describe ourselves as individuals driven by emotions and logic, the heart and the mind of the brain. So perhaps this is something the gems have inherited from humans. I do like the idea that the gems are more human than we or they themselves think they are, because to me it allows space for the more emotional gems to exist, and well, more for it to be okay that they are more human-like. I'm just thinking about Cinnabar's Mercury and the way it kind of acts out whenever they get emotional, and I've always thought that it's not something they should ever be ashamed of. It's just how they are and how they were born. But it's turned into this whole, oh, this is an irreparable weakness of yours and you should be, shunned and locked away so that, everyone else is kept safe. Yes, the Mercury kills things, but it can also be a great strength. Like, for example, the way that Cinnabar is just such a good fighter. And it's manageable. That's just my 2 cents. I feel, I have always felt that the gems, they deserve like a Lady Gaga concert where they learn how to love themselves and, sing Born This Way and all of that. There's also the whole trauma aspect. So immortal gems though they may be, they should be allowed to, like a human, be able to cry about it and deal with trauma in a healthy way that acknowledges that you're not always this indestructible being. It gets me when Phos cried for the first time, like when they cried their first tears of gold, and Sensei essentially tells them, oh, don't worry about that. That's just a weakness inherited from the ancient inclusions that are contained in this new alloy of yours. And I feel very strongly that this ongoing denial of their connection to humanity actually hurts the gems in the long run. But yeah, I'm very protective of these gems. It's kind of crazy. Next, there was something from Järvinen. Actually, something that blew my mind when I saw it, and then when I started digging into the symbolism behind it. So Järvinen had pointed out that the first panel of page 136 from volume 6 invokes an incomplete enso circle. The gold alloy looks like a brush stroke. It's a popular symbol in Zen Buddhism. Yeah, thank you for bringing that to my attention, because lo and behold, there is some crazy symbolism embodied in the enso circle. So first off, from Wikipedia, the true source of all knowledge, enso symbolizes absolute enlightenment. The incompleteness of the circle symbolizes the beauty of imperfection, and that the circle will only close when one recognizes its Buddha nature. And then here's something else that I got from somewhere else. At first glance, the ancient enso symbol appears to be nothing more than a misshaped circle, but its symbolism refers to the beginning and end of all things, the circle of life and the connectedness of existence. It can symbolize emptiness or fullness, presence or absence. Reading that just made me think that that panel was definitely drawn like that on purpose. It lines up perfectly to the emotional and the symbolic journey of enlightenment that Phos is undertaking, including both the way that they're struggling with becoming enlightened about the truth that Sensei is hiding, as well as a way that they are slowly, painfully becoming more and more physically like the treasure tower. another Buddhist symbol for human enlightenment. So, I mean, the road to enlightenment is just paved with pain, and it does sadden me a bit because I liked imperfect Phos the way that they were or the way that they are. So as soon as you understand the symbolism behind the enso circle, you start to see it everywhere and in the events that have happened before. For example, the way that chapter 44 started and ended with this reference to shortcuts, that in itself was like a perfect circle. One that was quite literary and also quite significant in terms of what it means for Phos's personal journey. Also, the way that Sensei reset the Lunarian animated game board with all those little pieces back to the way that it's meant to be at the start of a game, and how that then allowed them to find peace or disappear. So it was an end for the game pieces, but the end was brought about by going back to the beginning, if that makes sense. Actually, a side note about the game board from Mr. Alpha. The game board apparently belonged to Sensei just like Shidor did, so this is the second time the Lunarians have sent something of Sensei's down to fight the gems. I think those Lunarians, they are totally playing these weird mind games with Sensei, and I can't wait to see what history they have, because to me, they're giving me this feeling of like a jilted ex who's trying to get Sensei's attention. Yeah, anyway, back to the enso circle, and this is truly the crazy part. So the enso circle can even symbolize the moon, which is itself a symbol of enlightenment. That just added so much more symbolism to the physical act of taking the gems to the moon. Not only are they being reunited with the soul and the flesh there, in some wacky mission, I think, by the Lunarians to become human or enlightened again, but in literally going to the moon, there is this idea that they are actually achieving or reaching enlightenment, and really should be thanking the Lunarians for doing them that favor. There is one more interesting twist, which is there is this Zen Buddhist saying that says, "Do not mistake the finger pointing at the moon for the moon itself," which basically means, don't mistake teachings of enlightenment for actual enlightenment. You can also say it's like, don't mistake the reflection of the moon for the moon itself. Interestingly, the incomplete enso circle also represents the moon's reflection on water, symbolizing the futility of searching for enlightenment outside oneself. This immediately made me think of how the series opens with Phos staring at the reflection on the surface of the water, symbolizing, if we take what the incomplete enso circle means, symbolizing how futile it was when they were just trying to change themselves superficially. But after having gone through some intense internal, personal, painful change, i.e., having been forced to turn away from just their superficial reflection to instead focus on their actual self. So turning away from the reflection of the moon but focusing on the moon itself, they actually are now fully on the path to enlightenment. Oh man, there's so many layers upon layers of symbolism, and I don't even know if the words coming out of my mouth make sense. But the bottom line is Phos is achieving enlightenment somehow, and in doing so will go through lots and lots of pain. And also I think it will involve a trip to the moon down the track somehow. Finally, just a really good sum up from Barry Mckokiner. This whole story is a big case study on someone who wants to do something important and useful for their peers or family, that it twists them and leads them into such a state that the original promise was lost entirely, and the only things that matter to them are jumbled up, and it's getting more difficult to determine what they truly want to do anymore. So is it to protect their fellow gems, potentially destroy the status quo, or recover the lost ones, or their promise to Cinnabar, or is it just to return to how they used to be? And I couldn't have said it better myself. The way that Ichikawa has built up Phos's internal mental dilemmas is such that it is so real to how humans can respond to crisis and trauma, or to some monumental paradigm shift that changes your entire worldview. It's like this cursed collision of ambition and guilt mixed in with disorientation and confusion, plus a side of, conflicting loyalties and grey morality. All of that is packaged into Phos's journey, and that is why the more I read this manga, the more I think Houseki no Kuni is just such a masterpiece. And I'm so glad that it was the first, or like the second, anime that I chose to watch, and also that I found you guys, like this small community of people who just love discussing it as well. Okay guys, therein ends my rant, and I hope you're comfy because this is gonna be a pretty long one, I have a feeling. Land of the Lustrous, Haruko Ichikawa, Volume 7. And even just looking at this cover makes me a little bit uncomfortable. I mean, Lapis is beautiful, let's just say. And obviously they are very physically different, even just the hair and their eyes and the way that they smile. They give off a much more mature vibe. I love how this image is just a body splicing, and because that is literally what is happening. They're just attaching one gem's body parts to another, and I like that you can see Lapis's original arms, but then at the bottom there's just Phos's like drippy golden arms just kind of latching onto them. And there's that beautiful green head of hair that I don't think we're going to be seeing for a long time. My goodness. Also, I don't know, so we've got some shards of what looks like phosphophorite flying up into the air, and down the bottom I don't know what those are. They're either stones of some kind, or I don't know if I should say this. Well, to me it looks like a lot of gem butts. Just like a sea of gem butts. You know the black uniforms that they wear? Like the black pants, right? And just looks like a sea of bums. But I know I'm 99% sure that that's not what that is. If anyone can enlighten me without any spoilers, I would really appreciate that. Okay. Oh, I don't know what that is. It looks like some broken off part of a building, or like layers of sediment with minerals embedded in it. Don't know what that is either. Usually these little illustrations on the cover pages have some clue as to what's going to happen. And there we go. Character introductions. Immediately Rutiel's face. It's just such a mood. Alright, let's go from right to left. Phosphophorite, the hero of our story. Phosphophorite. Phosphophorite? There we go. Ship of Theseus question right up the front. Today we'll be introducing everyone's hobbies. Eh? The way that just reads, it's like, oh no, identity crisis. Is this Phosphophorite? And then like, oh, today we'll be introducing everyone's hobbies. Like back to normal normie gem life. Just ignore all the intense personal trauma that just happened with Phos. Rutiel, the gem doctor. is a workaholic and therefore has no hobbies. I would disagree with that. I feel like Rutil's biggest hobby is gem splicing and gem experimentation, questionable experimentation on their fellow gem siblings. Pain-gorm has enjoyed reading just a little ever since the Ghost Quartz days. Oh, that's sweet and really sad. Would actually prefer the reading be done aloud by Lapis. You know, I love that Ishikawa has actually thought through each of these gems and how they relate to each other, and just the littlest, tiniest of details in how they relate to each other has been thought out. Oh man. Diamond likes cute and pretty things, and for Dia it's just so simple. It's just cute, pretty, go. Yellow Diamond, the eldest, has had many hobbies but forgot them all. Oh yeah, I mean, isn't that just such a poetic, eloquent summary of what it is to be old? Benetois. Yes, this is the gem that I keep. It's the curse. They can introduce themselves to me and then I'll be like, hi, and then a second later I'll turn around and I'll forget who they are. Benetois enjoys cloud gazing, also likes playing cards at night with the other gems. Yes, call back to land of the late night gaming, despite being terrible at them. All of these descriptions are so cute. Jade gets a surprising amount of relaxation from arguing with Rutil, but doesn't want to admit it. I wonder if Rutil, I don't think Rutil gets the same amount of satisfaction that Jade does. Again, I love that these sibling dynamics are so precise and well thought out. It just makes it so much more real and so much more painful when anything happens to any of these gems. Euclase likes to look for patterns in all manner of phenomena and then swoon over them. Like in true mathematician style, just finding beauty in the natural patterns of the world, looking for equations. Alexandrite, double personality, enjoys Lunarian research to the extent of forcing the hobby into the job category. Well done, Alex. I mean, I feel like that is most what everyone wants to dreams of doing these days, is just being able to get paid. Well, not paid, but having a job that is really your hobby. And so you're working for the joy of it. Congo Sensei enjoys meditation, otherwise known as napping. For many reasons, the sensei is just always sleepy. For many reasons. We did talk through some of those possible reasons, I think 2 videos ago. Something about how it might be related to the way that he closes up the cracks that he incurs whenever he has to break off bits of himself to shoot at the Lunarians. So that's definitely something we gotta keep in our back pocket. But what the way that they're sitting. Enjoys analyzing everyone's battle quirks and likes jellyfish. Has fairly varied interests. So that definitely confirms that the jellyfish journal, the one that read like a battle journal, was totally bots. Oh man. Cinnabar likes to overthink things. I don't know if they like to so much as they just can't help but overthink. Red Barrel, in charge of clothing and accessories, also a workaholic who lives for the job. That probably describes a good majority of these gems. Maybe not yellow because, they're old enough to be like, oh, there's more to life than just work. Or I don't even know what I'm working for. That's where yellow is. But for the other gems, they're still pretty much engaged in whatever specialty that they've chosen. Zircon enjoys maintaining swords, doing laundry and cleaning. It reminds me of those IQ questions where you get like a pattern of 3 or like a list of 3 things and you have to pick which one doesn't fit in. Enjoys maintaining swords, doing laundry and cleaning. I guess Zircon, having now been paired with Board, I feel like their Battle Freak side will be much more refined now and more able to come out. Peridot, this is the paper gem. In charge of creating paper, has apparently tested all kinds of materials, wants to create the ultimate in beautiful paper. Such a wholesome goal or life purpose, I feel. So, I mean, for the gems that have found purpose in a certain field, it actually looks like, you know, they've got a pretty good life. I mean, who wouldn't want to spend their entire life figuring out the best way to make paper? I love that. Okay, let's see what clues we can get from the titles. Chapter 45, The Long Winter. So back to winter. Lapis Lazuli. Yep, not surprising that we do get an entire chapter of them. Although I wonder if that means like we're going to be focusing on Phos with Lapis's head, or we're going to go into some backstory of who Lapis actually was before they got taken to the moon. 102 years. I feel like 102 is a very important number. Was it something, you know, when they counted the number of parts of Shiro that was split? Yeah, I'll have to remember again. An old tale heard in the sea. More lore. So back to the origins of the gems, the Lunarians and the Admirables. Great. On the trail, the Doctor, Rutiel story, legend, journey, land of the linen laundry. I can't wait. That's probably what I'm looking forward to the most. It'll be like chapters and chapters of just, oh, I'm dying, just kill me now. And then we'll have some nice bit of fluff at the end to take off that sting. Alright guys, I hope you're ready. Just gonna get comfortable, take some water. Chapter 45, The Long Winter. Can't look at Cairngorm's face. I wonder, obviously they're feeling quite hard about this because it's like they're giving up the most precious part of a gem that they loved very much and still does love, having to, I guess, sacrifice their head to make another gem whole. God, such a mind bender. So much going on in those first 2 panels, that stare. Something that words can't communicate, just what are we doing? Are we really gonna do this? Rutiel, is this possible? It's so amazing how much can be said in those few expressions, like even on Jade's face. Jade being like, Rutiel, be really careful what you do or don't say, and Rutiel knows. Yes, Sensei. Considering all previous operations, I would say there are various hurdles, but it isn't necessarily impossible. It just says so much that Rutiel, someone who has no qualms really about sticking pieces here and there, is really rethinking this and sort of having a bit of a pause. Obviously, this is very different from what they normally do. But in Phos's case, I can't be so sure. Be that as it may, I've already come up with 2 points of concern. Phos is currently made up of 5 materials. The eponymous phosphofolite, the leg graphs of shell and agate, and the arm graphs of gold and platinum. Yeah, okay, so she's basically doing a shopping list of everything that is in the treasure tower. Meanwhile, Lapis was born as a composite of 6 minerals, mainly lazurite, sodalite, hoin, and pyrite. Oh, 5 plus 6. Oh, sorry. Oh, dog woke up next door. He's like, this is crazy. I know, this is crazy. If we add that to phosphofolite, I don't know if the result would count as 6 or 11 different minerals. In any case, it would be an extremely complex configuration. On top of that, both gems have their own sense of self. The inclusions are merely in a state of suspended animation. Interesting that it talks about the inclusions and like they're mixing not just physical parts of them, but they're mixing two very different personalities and the dangers that come with that. If we were to put them together, I can't even imagine how they would function. The other concern is if I use a completely different mineral for Phos's head, that will bring the ratio of actual phosphofolate down to less than half of the gem's body. Oh, I had assumed that it was already more than half that the different minerals had taken up, but apparently not. I was hoping to wait until we could get a new crop of inclusion-free phosphofolite, or at least make up the difference with something that has already worked, like more alloy or agate. If we don't use materials that the inclusions are already familiar with. This is fascinating stuff, the way that it's such a delicate equation to balance all of these. Like, basically it's the law of complexity. The more things you add into the mix, the more complex it gets on an exponential level. And I am glad that Rachel has been thinking about all these things and isn't just like, yeah, let's do it, let's see what happens. Then even if Phos were lucky enough to wake up, I don't know if we could really call the resulting gem phosphofolite. There we go. Yeah, it's... I mean, I know that I said that Phos's identity would remain constant over time, even though their forms change, but the way that Retailers just put it now, that they would be made up of an additional 11 or 12 different minerals, physically, I don't know if you could call that Phos. Those are my thoughts as well. Using Lapis's head comes with many risks and a low chance of success, and assuming it does work, it will likely produce several emotional problems in the long run. Well, duh. For example, Pain-gorm, what happens when all of the pieces of Lapis Lazuli have returned? I hadn't thought of that before too. I mean, well, yeah, what would you do? Just, well, give me back my head, please. Oh my goodness, that conversation would be insane. I don't think they will. As we know, Pain-gorm has lost all hope and doesn't think the Lunarians would ever let them recover any of the gems. I don't think anyone is coming back. Sensei's face. I've seen the records kept by the previous caretaker of the convalescent center, and all the caretakers before that. Not a single gem has ever emerged from that room. I mean, you can't deny the truth. Them's just facts. I'm sorry. I know, I get it. I'll find you a simpler material that Phos is more familiar with. Oh, what the? Oh, I have one. We can use my head. I did not see that coming. How is that different though from using Lapis's head? I mean, yeah, Phos knows them, but What is happening? Why did Sensei just snap off one of their kids' arms? I have to protect Phos. Ghost wanted me to. You have my permission. Attach Lapis Lazuli's head to Phosphofolite. What just happened? Why? What was the purpose of snapping off the arm and then being like, no, use Lapis's head? What is going on? Okay, initial feelings. Sensei is like, we'll use the parts that we have here, but because you, Pain-gorm, are your own identity, like you are your own gem and you also deserve to be here, we're not going to just use you as if you're just a part, you know? Because, I mean, technically, they are just stepping into themselves as their own gem, having been hidden inside of ghost courts for all these years. They took on their own name, they volunteered for winter duty and just started getting into the rhythm of gem life. And I think back here, when they offered their own head, they were reverting back to the I'm just a part of another gem. And so that sort of made Sensei snap, literally. I still don't think that was necessary though, Sensei. I don't know. I would love to hear what you guys think about this part. So Sensei also needs some therapy. Probably out of all of them, he probably needs it the most. Here we go with the head operation. Click, click, click. That Jade and Euclid is just intensely worried. Slurp. There's no smiles, no cocky smiles from retail today. This is like serious frontier operation. Oh my god. I'm not gonna say wrong, I don't even know how to process this. We have attached Lapis Lazuli's head to Phosphofolite's body. The results are pending, but as this is an unprecedented experiment, we will keep a careful eye on its progress. To allow for sufficient rest, we will carry Phos home to bed this afternoon. I know you all must be worn out from the search, but if any of you have the energy to spare, I hope he will help. So they need team effort to carry Phos's body to bed? It's so strange. Well, strange is one way to look at it. Phos's hair was cut, right? And even factoring that in, there's still less than half left. Phos used the hair for self-repair during the winter. The gem was fragile to begin with. Every time that alloy expanded or contracted, a little phosphorite would be scraped off and fall out. It's almost like they were built to be replaced, you know? That would have a big effect on the ratio. I see. You did good. You deserve to get a little rest. But just a little. Oh, they're all just... I thought they were saying that to Rutiel, but I think they're talking to Phos. all of their gem elder brothers and sisters. Retail, that retail, and I don't know. Someone's making Phos's bed for them. Oh. Is that from the point of view of Phos, like the covered in blanket view? Okay, this is full on winter and everyone's still awake. They're just all trying to keep their eyes open. It's the ice floes crashing together, or here we go, hibernation time again. 31 to 8. Is that like bedtime? Benito! It's Bort. Aim for the spot where Bort's gonna land. Go! What? Are they having a pillow fight? Bort is a monster. They're so good at, of course, well, they are the battle expert, and so of course they would have the pillow fight covered. OP pillow fighter. Buff. Hey, don't involve me in this. Sorry. Unlike every gem else, I have to go to work. Is that Kangol? I love this. Has to be my favorite panel. This one on the left on page 25, the middle one, where Bort just lands all of those hits at one go. For crying out loud. Yeah, give them time, give Kangol some time and they'll start, you know, loosening up a bit. Kind of like Zircon, I guess. Get 'em! Okay, so this is Phos's special room. Well, I mean, Lapis, I mean, Phos Lapuli. So, yeah, these clothes. It wasn't my idea, but black isn't the best camouflage in the snow. The Lunarians chased me all over last year. It was awful. And Red Barrel would not stop bugging me. I've been on winter duty for 100 years. What? Wait, it's been 100 years? Oh. What? Wait, is this time jump? Did I miss something? Is this it? Was this panel the imagery for 100 years has passed now? I mean, I know 100 years is not long in gem years, but okay. If I'm wrong about this and I just missed something, please let me know. But it looks like 100 years has passed because Cairngorm last volume just started doing winter duty. I know I'm better than you at breaking ice floes now. This was definitely not a shortcut. I'll see you again tonight. Oh my goodness, it's like Phos has taken the role that Antark did, and Cairngorm is sort of like talking to them every day as well as the original, you know, breaking ice floes master that they had. The circularity is really something. Wow. So Lapis Lazuli's head didn't really take to Phos right away, unlike the other materials. Chapter 46, Lapis Lazuli. Look at them in... It looks like they're doing some kind of sports carnival or something. They're so happy. Remember this panel forever, you know, good old days. It's spring. It sure is. The moment you've been all waiting for. Ta-da! What is that? Frills. I made a special new what is that? Eastivation outfit just for you, Pain-gorm. You spoiled gem, you. That's something they didn't ask for, obviously. Now get changed so I can tailor it. Go on, get. I ask every year, but is there a point to wearing this just to sleep in? A point? Never mind. Oh, wow, okay. Fashion needs no point. It is a world of perfect self-satisfaction. The key is to put out everything you have to the maximum limit. But I want my work to be even more than that. I want to draw out the charm that no one has realized in themselves and help them to achieve their long-cherished desires for transformation. Breathe. It is a sea of service devoted to bringing new charms into blossom. It is love. It is beauty. A limitless sky where instinct and design combine. Whoa, standing ovation. What a speech. Wow, you were super, super annoying. The contents of your lecture change slightly every year. That's impressive. It means you're thinking. Wow, Retail really went for the jugular right there. I don't know if Red Barrel got that though. It might have just sailed over their head. Amazing. These frilly things really aren't my... You can't narrow your own potential. Once you get dressed, we'll go show it to Sensei. Look, I love that Red Barrel treats as one and the same their intense desire to create some things, you know, beautiful accessories and items of clothing. To them, that is exactly the same as helping another gem discover their true potential. Because, of course, a gem's value is entirely contained in how good they look in their clothes. But Sensei always says every gem looks good in everything. I guarantee it doesn't have anything to do with your fashion sense. Ooh, I mean, come on, Pain-gorm, you gotta give Red Barrel something to live for. Like, don't inject so much reality into their world. Yes, it does. Sensei is just very magnanimous. Now put it on. I love how Red Barrel is like this benevolent dictator. You know, everything they do is for your own good. And you must put it on. As I say, when I say. I'm like really tired. Oh, it's so weird. Any idea why? Who's talking? That's what I want to know. So it's just my head feels so heavy. It's weird. When are they gonna notice? I'm having such a hard time waking up. It's never been this bad before. No, I imagine not. You gotta give credit to those gems who are seeing this for the first time. Their reactions are like they're just trying to play it cool and calm. Seeing you like this is a first for me too. What? I have rare symptoms? Oh, Pain-gorm, what's up with the white uniform? Is it for winter? Do I get one too? Phos's uniform? Is that a no? Okay, so they still think of themselves as Phos because they're responding as though, like, they are Phos. Here, use this. You want me to take off my powder? Okay, I get it. You want to look at my head. The water's kind of blue. Oh god. Oh no. Oh, that is terrifying. I wonder if the gold alloy as well, because you know how Phos, with Phos's old head, the gold would just sort of overtake everything, including the head, and they'll be able to bleed out gold. I wonder if that also works with the Lapis Lazuli. What to say, what to do in this situation. You can touch your face with your bare hands and not damage it. Oh, that's proof that the inclusions have adapted. The Lapis head transplant is a success. So, how long until it's just gonna be natural that we see Lapis's head, but it's really Phos? Do you remember the Lunarians shooting you in the neck? They took your head. It was Pain-gorm's idea to attach Lapis's, and Sensei authorized it. You've been in a coma ever since the transplant. I'm beautiful. I was not expecting that to be. I mean, after the initial shock, I don't know. I guess I was expecting something less happy, or I don't know. Not bad at all. I could get used to a face like this. Pain-gorm's face is what I'm feeling right now. Is that, I don't know if that's Phos's personality that's being like, oh, I'm beautiful, like very vain. Were they, I guess they were sort of a bit vain at the beginning as well, but I don't know if this is Lapis's personality coming out. So what you said about how even if the gem does wake up, we won't know if it's really Phos, that is 100% genuine Phos. Okay, thank you, Pain-gorm, for clearing that up. I guess so Lapis Lazuli was not as self-absorbed as Phos was. I love it. I love this face. Oh my. I honestly thought there would be more of a breakdown in personality. I was hoping Lapis's careful, intellectual attitude would express itself at least a little. Yeah. I doing the vows to see what their face looks like when they speak. We all underestimated how shameless possible inclusions can be. Don't make funny faces! Wow, this is just amazing. I mean, I think they're all saying that they wish Lapis Lazuli's personality would come out a little bit more because of it sounds like they're much more mature and smarter than Phos is. But I do think that ultimately deep down everyone's kind of relieved that there wasn't this massive personality split or, you know, crisis that they had to deal with. It's just, this is superficial Phos at their best. Oh, I do feel bad for Pain-gorm though, because having made such a sacrifice on their part, now they have to deal with Phos's personality, I guess, ruining their image of Lapis Lazuli. Like, it's so weird. Do you regret it? That's probably a rhetorical question. Whomp. Oh, sensei. You're awake, I see. Yes, sensei. Oh, so one look at Phos and sensei can tell. It is you, Phos. That looks good on you. I love how each of their faces is so true to their own personalities. Like, Zircon just speechless, bored is like suspicious, wary, and then Yellow is just, oh, this is something that I've not seen even in my old age. And dire. Phosphophylite's hair transplant is a success. Yeah, I am super shocked that, like, Phos is like, yay, this is me now, I'm prettier. Like, I'm wary as well, like, this is too good to be true. Something has to break sooner or later, right? Although it has been 102 years since the operation. I was asleep for 102 years? You were asleep for 102 years. Now, reintroduce yourself to everyone. 102? I guess to Phos, he was only 300 years old, if I remember correctly. That's a pretty long time. I'm Phosphophyli. I haven't been around in 102 years, but I will do my best as a literal new face, and I look forward to working together. That was a joke. Oh man, I don't even know. Wow, you're awake. To be honest, I thought you were a goner. Still, even with the same face, you have none, and I mean none of Lapis's intellectual aura. Interestingly, it's like, it is more than, like, we are all, or, you know, a person is more than their face. It's like, if the personality underneath completely changes, then you can just tell. It's so interesting how you can just sense that. Yay, Phos, that's me. I think Ghost might have told me once that we were alike. You think so? Something was wrong with me. I regret this. There you go again, as if you weren't happy to see me awake. Come on, you're happy. You love this. Let's be friends again. And there goes another one of my beautiful memories of Lapis. Oh, I mean, encased in that sort of like jokey one-liner about losing memories, I feel like Phos has definitely lost. We don't know which memories Phos has lost yet, but they definitely must have, because their entire head is gone. Listen, I'll do my best to be a good replacement for Lapis. I know how much this head means to you. Thank you for letting me use it. Okay. There's superficial Phos, and then there's genuine Phos that comes out when needed. Whatever, it's yours now. Do what you want with it. Such mixed feelings for Pain-gorm. Phos, what do you want to do about work tomorrow? It's fine, I think I can get right to it. Really? Thanks, we can have you start by patrolling nearby. I don't get any sleep. I just worked all winter and I don't get to... What is that? Estivate? Does that mean to rest? I actually do not know that word. Estivate. Okay, you sleep. I'll just do it myself. No problem. That's what scares me the most. If you get Laps's head stolen too, I swear you will be dust. That's the gem version of, if you die, I will kill you myself. Phew, what a day. Long hair is so heavy. Oof. Starting tomorrow, I think I'm going to have to start remembering a lot of stuff. I guess, I don't know, I guess, are they still waiting for the inclusions? Like, the more the inclusions adapt to the new material, the more that they start to remember? But then surely there's a limit to what they can remember because the inclusions that are part of the head are gone. So, well, I'm sure it'll work out. You're always doing that, aren't you? Is this Lapis speaking? Leaving everything scattered around. There's that landscape again. Your beautiful and precious body, the colour of the western shallows, the information you worked so hard to acquire, everything. Go on, get up. Time to get organised. They're shattering again. Good, you can follow instructions. I'll give you just a bit of help. I am Lapis Lazuli. Oh, this is... Where is this? I mean, obviously this is a dream. And Lapis Lazuli is speaking to them about, like, reminding them of their mission that they had said they would pursue, which is to find out more about the moon people and Sensei's connection to them. So is this, I don't know, is this Phos pushing that part of themselves onto the Lapis Lazuli personality that they technically have inside themselves, or is this actually Lapis? Oh, I don't know. They are, you can tell that Lapis, they are very well spoken though. They've got very good vocabulary. Oops. I realized it was possible that I could end up a part of someone else, so I left a message with my inclusions. So it is Lapis, it's not just Phos projecting. I have first-rate inclusions that do good work, so what they tell you should be very precise. Oh my goodness! Yes, Lapis! Lapis, another rebel we can count along with Padpa, I guess. I too had my doubts about this ongoing war. I had been carefully investigating the matter, but I have this bad habit of getting lost in my thoughts until I followed a train of logic to its conclusion. I love them. I'm claiming Lapis for Ravenclaw. It was on my mind while I was fighting and I got myself shot. I'm not in a place to criticize you, am I? Right. It's around here. So, oh, wait. Is this a visual representation? So all of this blobby stuff, they're not butts. They are, I guess, the inclusions? Somehow? How, what a coincidence, or maybe not, that Lapis ended up being attached to Phos, the only gem who has ever thought of uncovering the reason behind why they're at war and why it is that Sensei, you know, does what he does. Oh man. It's around here. So they're looking for the message, I guess. And Lapis knew to store a certain message or a piece of information in the inclusions in their head so that whoever got their head would get the message too. When we lose pieces of our body, we lose the memories stored inside them. But unless those pieces are significantly large, we won't lose our personal continuity. Wait, let me read that again. When we lose pieces of our body, we lose the memories stored inside them. Yep. But unless those pieces are significantly large, we won't lose our personal continuity. That is kind of like the space-time continuity between like the space continuity of personality and identity, right? Like even if you do lose certain bits of yourself, and you change forms, you still remain you. Yeah, here we go. So you seem to have a constitution that's especially good at maintaining your sense of self. Inclusions that excel at symbiosis. Fascinating. Anyway, the details of our memories are lost, but they are still part of our accumulated experience. There are still traces that something happened. In the seams, there should be a little here. Oh, there's that thing at the beginning of the volume. So it's a piece of memory, really, like stored in these inclusions. So, okay, so all right, we're learning a bit more about why Phos's inclusions are so special compared to the other gems. The way that they're able to adapt to any material while also not really losing the contours of the memories that they have. Even if they don't remember details, they still remember the impact that those memories have on them. And so that's why we constantly say that memories are integral to identity, but Phos is able to keep their personality intact more so than any other gem put in the same situation, is because they're able to adapt and hence preserve their memories and hence preserve their identity. This is amazing. Yes, that's it. An old tale you heard in a distant sea. Sensei's soliloquy, sounds made by the Lunarians. We're lucky, these are good remnants. But you can't keep thinking the way you have been with your thoughts just drifting on the surface. Listen to me. To know the true relationship between Sensei and the Lunarians, to find a clue that will convince Cinnabar to help you, to get Antark and Ghost back. I love that Lapis's... So Lapis's inclusions have obviously intertwined with Phos's. And so they know about all these things. They know about the promise that Phos made to Cinnabar and how they offered for them to find this new job of theirs. They know about how traumatic it was to lose Antark and Ghost. If that's all you want, I can see one path that will solve all your problems at once. Can you figure it out? If I could, I wouldn't be in this mess. That's the one thing I figured out. Good point. I love this sort of like sensei disciple vibe going on with Lapis and Phos in Phos's head. Do you have some sense in your style of thinking? Oh, you do have some sense in your style of thinking. Now you need continuity, depth, and inspiration, which I can provide you now that we are one gem. Those specific things are very interesting. Continuity, depth, meaning Phos, and admittedly Phos has been quite shallow in many ways, and inspiration. What is that? That's the head flying off? These images are so weird. It's time. Here, I'll share my genius with you. As soon as Phos becomes a genius, they're no longer Phos. I think that's the standard. It's morning. When you wake up, it will be a new day. I got chills. That was an exhausting dream. Oh, I feel like as they were having that dream, their inclusions were definitely physically moving around somehow. Something feels different. It's like, I don't know, there are all these tiny details and it's almost disgusting how clearly I can see them. And chapter 46. So they are fully integrated at this point. Lapis's inclusions and Phos's inclusions, and sort of Lapis's personalities along with Phos's personality. I guess so. There are bits of Lapis Lazuli also now in the alloy. It's funny that Phos thinks it disgusting, or it feels disgusting. As it would, I guess, if you were merged completely with someone else whose ways of thinking and style of thought was completely not your own. Oh man. Oh, this is getting so nuts. Alright, so I'm gonna have to take a quick break and then I will come back to chapter 47. Okay guys, I'm back. I just had to grab something sweet, some sugary drink, because I can feel my brain powering down, and we've still got 2 more chapters to go, so I needed a reboost. Chapter 47, 102 years. Doesn't seem like too many things have changed in that time other than their uniforms. And Pain-gorm is now an ice flow expert, which I'm sure Phos will be very proud of. That's Phos sneaking up on him. What's wrong with you? Did I miss the morning meeting? What is wrong with them? Can they not control their alloy anymore because of the changes that Lapis made? Yeah, since you only regained consciousness yesterday, we decided not to wake you up. Are you alright? They look like a mess. I was totally fine yesterday, but when I woke up today, everything was so glaringly bright. Like, everything is demanding my attention. There's so much information. So, Phos is now paying the price for having a big brain. Further proving that old Phos or original Phos didn't have much of a brain to begin with. Oh man, this is amazing. This is great. Even the cracks in the floor seem to be talking to me. It's making me sick. Yeah, even Jade's plain face is so intense I can't look at it. Poor Jade. Don't attack Jade like that. Jade is fine the way that they are. Oh man, this is actually really fascinating. I wonder, like, we were getting high intellect Phos now, and oh, the way it changes how they must interact with every other gem, because they've always treated Phos as the baby airhead, you know. You free? Oh, Ack. Alex. I'm sure Alex would appreciate smart Phos now because, you know, researcher to intellect, that's kind of it's a match made in heaven. Phos, why are you lying on the ground? Oh, come on. Oh, what kind of Lunarian are they looking at now? What is all this, Lex? You know Pain-gorm is organizing the library now, right? I'm supposed to give back all the Lunarian reports, so I was putting them in order and I remembered that one of them is an original design I made up myself. But I don't know which one it is anymore, so I was hoping you'd look through them with me. Why would you do that? I was just messing around. What a problem to have. I mean, they're looking for that one drawing of a Lunarian that is not accurate and is just a figment of their imagination, should belong in the fanfic section of the library, but they're not sure which one. It's so funny. This is it. What did they draw? Kind of looks like a birthday cake resting on a big clam shell. What's it? This is it. What a coincidence. No. Oh, here's Lapis. The Lapis knowledge coming out. I saw them for a second and that one was different. Or I felt like it was. Or I didn't. Okay, here comes the personality clash. So Cairngorm is in the library. Oh, I want to go to the library, I think. Laters. Gloop, gloop. This is Phos as they've never seen Phos before and they don't know what to do. It was so fun. I mean, you know, they were always saying, oh, I wish Lapis would have come out a bit more of Phos. And now that they're getting it, I think it's not what they imagined it to be, and it's going to weird them out more than they thought it would. I think I want to go to the library. Is Phos starting to act more like Lapis? I had the same thought. I'll help. Oh god, Cairngorm, what is it going to do to Cairngorm's brain? It's going to break their brain. It's going to make them really emotional, I think, seeing Lapis come out. But it's not Lapis. No, that's okay. Monster. What is Phos doing? Why are they taking the form of a spider? Yeah, it's already messing with them. Even just the physical presence of Lapis being there. I mean, what a blessing and a curse, right? Like, imagine if you had someone close to you who'd passed away or gone, and then all of a sudden, you know, because of let's say like droid technology, whatever, they were able to build a droid of someone that looked exactly like the person that you'd lost and kind of acts like them, but they weren't really, and you knew that they weren't them. Ugh, that, I don't know. I don't think I'd want that, even if it did give me reminders of the person that they once used to be, but they will never ever be that, so... You know, we have the geology reports on the top shelf, but what if we changed our organization system? From top to bottom, it can be astronomy, meteorology, geology, doing the Dewey system. Then they would be lined up the same way as in nature, and finding books will be more intuitive. That face. And maybe it would be better to put the textbooks we used closer to the front. When looking something up, I feel like it would be more efficient to start with a broader knowledge up front and then narrow it down as we go further in. It's so logical. I mean, it's so scary. What do you think? I'm Lapis Lazuli. I'm kidding. Phos, don't do that. Oh my gosh, they got their glaive out and everything. Never do that. Just, oh my goodness, they're like playing with their emotions so badly. I dreamed about Lapis last night. This is pretty much the impression I got. And that's all. That's all. The way you touch your hair. Who told you about that? Oh my goodness, I am going to have to do some research into limb attachment in humans because I have, okay, I know very little about it medically, but there was this podcast that I listened to about how when certain limbs get attached, there are cases where the person's personality changes and actually they start to act a bit more like the person who donated the limb. Okay, that is like, all right, we gotta look into that, guys. But this is sort of what is reminding me of that. I am Lapis Lazuli. I mean, obviously it's not as extreme as this, but stop it, my hair's gonna explode. Change your hairstyle this instant. Oh. What did Red Barrel just like immediately show up the moment someone said change your hairstyle this instant? And that's like the magic code to get them to pop up from thin air. Wow, okay, pony to the Phos. This is so weird. Very bizarre. But I get it. That's better. I feel much better now. Really? What about your problem with all creation flashing and glaring at you? Are you over it? Now that you mention it, I've gotten pretty used to it. Again, that speed of adaptability is just crazy. Everything kind of calmed down while I was reading those books. Even Lapis said I could follow instructions and learn fast and had sense, so it must be true. Yeah, in your dreams. Literally in Phos's dreams. Oh man, I love that wordplay. That's awesome. But I mean, okay. It is true that Phos learns super quickly, and I guess that's sort of why it feels like they're losing their identity more so than any other gem, because when you learn things and you take them on and you absorb them, and they change the way that you think, it does change your personality over time. And because it's just happening at warp speed for Phos in terms of how their inclusions are just so adaptable, it seems like they just keep changing all the time. Interesting how not the power of knowledge to change people. And it was a strange dream. I was in this weird place and there was Lapis and never mind. They look more like Phos there. You want to know, are you curious? Hey, Goshen. Phos is such a tease, man. Come to think of it, I didn't talk to you yesterday. How are you and how's Morga? Ooh, I haven't seen Morga for a while. Nice to meet you, Phosphophilite. I finally get to talk to you. The older gens told me all about you while you were asleep. You're crazy strong, light. Let me see you fight. What is that? Why is that confused look on Phos's face? Yes, I am crazy strong. Nice to meet you. Whoa, for real? You actually called yourself strong? Unbelievable. Whenever these sparks of self-indulgence or self-praise come out, that's like a sign, right, that that's Phos right there. How old are you? 70. The big 7-0, eh? That's young. Gorин is only 70 years old? What? Oh. Alright, Morga, come on, you should say hi too. Not gonna move? Ugh, you're so shy. What's up with Morga? No! Well, you better call me when you start fighting, okay? It was summer, 82 years ago. The Morga and Goshen you knew went to the moon. Oh my god. I was like, why? What is happening? That is Morga. You know, the very first panel is Morga going, oh my god, Phos, just you're so useless. That's Morga. And now this is, oh my, no. Those two were born a while later. It's rare for gems to be replaced by newborns of the same type. Sensei said so too. So it is Morga and Goshen, but It's not Morga and Gratian. Well, it has been 102 years. Oh, the sadness on Phos's face. This is so... What was that face? Yep. It was realization and then like, oh, I can't. They're so fresh and I can't. Just, we have to move on. Anyone else? Just those two. Oh, I see. If only I'd been here. Oh no, the blaming again. That list is growing very long for Phos, and interestingly, because like other gems like yellow, I'm sure have much longer lists, but it's just with Phos because of the way that they take things and how they analyze it and how much guilt they take on, even though it's not their fault that gems get taken. It's really just drilling a hole in their heart, and I don't know. Yeah, right. I let 2 gems go to the moon in the same year. I don't get to talk like that. Goshen, Morga, Ghost, Antark. Lapis told me there was a way that might solve this, but I still have no idea what it is. Guess you gotta dream again. What's for flight? Morga. Go on. Oh. This is baby Morga. Oh man. Phos is so kind as well. You must be Morganite. Nice to meet you. You had something to ask, didn't you? All the gems tell me that I'm nothing like the other Morga. Do they all like the other Morga better? Do you? Oh no! No. Such a pain. Oh. Okay. I do not. The old Morga was violent and arrogant. A pink gem, can you imagine? And was always looking down on me despite being the one that sent her that more. But Morga was fun to be around. Oh, that panel kills me. The one with baby Phos just pointing or reaching out for old, jaded Morga. Mean Morga. Don't worry. Everyone loves you just as much as they love the old Morga, and I think Morga would like you too. Really? Of course. I'll make sure you meet each other someday. Why is this chapter just killing me so badly? I love that Phos is reassuring them that even though they're nothing like the old Morga, that they are their own person and that they should be proud of who they are and they should be comfortable in their own skin. That is the lesson or the truth that everyone should know. Then you can ask. Oh, that's the first panel ever. Like, the wind in the grass and Phos. Well, Phos was lying in the grass, but. And then Morga. Morga. It's so weird because Morga had not crossed my mind at all. Even though we hadn't seen them for a while, but then when you know that they're gone, there is that hole there, and it's like, oh, no, not Morga. Like, and then you sort of think about like what Phos was doing there, just remembering all the fun times that Morga, all the hard times and all the harsh things that Morga had said to them, but in the end, it was family. Like, it's you. There's something missing when a family member of yours has been taken. Chapter 48, an old tale heard in the sea. Here we go. Maybe Lapis definitely knows more about their origin story, and I wonder if it matches up to what Ventricosus was telling Phos. So they keep dreaming about being shattered into pieces, and I feel like these first 3 panels are like sort of what is happening when the inclusions are becoming more and more integrated with each other. It's like the phosphorite bits are just fusing into Lapis Lazuli's bits more and more as time goes by. This stream again. That's good though. I have a lot to ask Lapis. And also, interestingly, in their dream now, they appear as Lapis with the ponytail, whereas in the first stream, it was Phos as the original Phos with the original head. That's good though. I have a lot to ask Lapis. Lapis, you there? They're not there. They're already... I feel like they've already become Lapis, and so you won't ever see Lapis again, like as a separate being from Phos. What is that? There's parts of floating Lapis. It looks very patterned and strange. Oh, it's bits of the gems that were taken. Enter Ghost. Morga. Goshen. Oh, let's look at that again. Okay, so all of those gems, I guess, representing each gem that has been taken. Bam. I can't reach. So I knew it was a dream, but I still... You talk a lot in your sleep. Good morning. Huh? What are you doing here? Wait, who is that? Is that Goshen and Morga? No. Yeah. So what, they're sleeping next to Phos's bed or something? They just kind of moved it without asking for permission. That's kind of cute and sweet. Maybe it's going to be a little bit annoying. I don't know. Can't go. They're really attached to you. Said in a way that's like, and I don't know why, like glue. Phosphorite said I get to meet the old Morga. Oh no. The Pain-gorm is going to be like, I'm going to give you a dose of reality. You guys are never seeing other gems ever again. And we're sticking with our new role model until that happens. I assumed you want to meet the old Goshen. Nope. I'm not the type to give a chip about the past. I just feel like hanging out with Phosphorite will help me slice a lot of Lunarians. I love slicing Lunarians. So you're more like Red Lex and Bot. I was gonna say, maybe Bot and Zircon should take Goshen. Come on, let's go ask Sensei for permission to work together. Wrapped around their little fingers. Can't forget that. This is, oh my goodness, again, just such a weird thing to get used to, having come from Phos being the baby that's sort of running around everyone else's feet and trying to get in with the circle, the fighting group. You younger gems could learn much from Phos. Permission granted. Ka-chow! Oh wow, they're actually sparring. Rah. Hey, come to think of it, you still remembered Morga and Goshen. Yep, that's right. My head's working so well now. Talk about luck. It's not luck, it's Lapis's head. Yeah, and what I do remember is clearer now. Of course, I still can't bring back the memories that are totally gone. An old tale I heard in a distant sea. Whoa! Okay, that's so weird because Phos actually didn't remember any of that story when they got back. So when Ventricosis had delivered Phos back to Cinnabar and then they had that interview with Sensei, they didn't actually remember any of that. So somehow being integrated with Lapis and taking on their inclusions has somehow made them remember certain memories better. Oh, interesting. I guess maybe because of Lapis's intellectual sharpness, it's just sort of like how they're physically seeing everything sharp, and it's almost like these the visuals are just attacking their brain. It's kind of like that, but a memory that they've happened to brush off. What am I talking about? Phos! Pain-gorm, come to the Twin Shores. Yes! Oh no. Where's Sensei? Not here yet. Looks about medium size. We'll lure it above the sea while we wait for Sensei. Not like we have a choice. 7 rays, probably not a new type. Got it. Oh no, please let nothing happen to the babies. This will be my first time fighting with my new head. Wow. Maybe they, with Lapis's head now, Phos will be a lot less impulsive and actually think about what they're doing. Maybe that's one positive thing to come out of this head transplant. 7-ray model, probably an old type. The vessel has an asymmetrically bound face, with an extremely wide and shallow elliptical bowl, narrow outline halo, rotting wood style crown, 20 spears, 20 rabble with flower ornamentation. Overall rarity, upper mid-level of the vessel alone. It's the 7th we've seen. Lapis's head just analyzes automatically. That's a lot of information to take in. It's wearing me out. And I love that inside Phos is still Phos in that they are not as quick as Lapis is, and it does sort of do their head in a bit, and it probably gives them migraines. Because it is them, but it's not them doing the analysis. Swish. I keep hearing a swit swit. It's this faint sound they make whenever they move. It's almost drowned out by the sound of their bowstrings when they release their arrows, but it's a little higher in pitch. Like air going through a hole. I never noticed it before. What is this? Where is it coming from? What's the pattern? Is it the flow of air? Is it the rustling of fabric? Maybe the direction their fabric is moving? Or that scent like falling flower petals? Is it possible that they put all of those things together in a complex pattern that we wouldn't notice, and that's how they communicate and give commands? Damn, this is crazy. This is full on battle general mode, like battle tactician coming out. Even I wonder if, so even Bot obviously hasn't noticed any of this, because otherwise I guess they would pass it on to all the other gens to sort of warn them that this is how they coordinate attacks. And then of course, knowing that, it would give you an upper hand on how to deal with the Lunarians, but this is all Lapis. And oh, interesting. Sweet. Oh, phosphorite. What? Okay, there's something, it's coming from the neck. Oh no, oh no, oh no. Look at those two babies. They just like used Phos's arms to climb up to take a peek. Protect the babies. Get out of here. What was Pain-gorm doing? Wasn't Pain-gorm like looking up babysitting? Taking care of making sure that they don't do anything stupid? Oh no, oh no, oh no. I'm sorry, Lapis. Forget it. I've told you a million times. Here's Pain-gorm again, coming in clutch to save Phos again. Okay, here comes Sensei and the other gens. Oh. Sensei. Whoa. Okay, their hair got sliced. Yes? What? What is that? It's like... Wait. Did Phos rip their own hair? Or was it kind of ripped off in the hail of arrows? We found another one. Oh, okay. It must have been the attack. Thanks. Now there are just 2 left. Well, hair only contains a very small amount of memories, and often inclusions don't even live in it. So it's no serious problem if you lose any. Is that how it works? Is it how that works? I don't know, because Lapis is all in the head, and so I don't know. Did Phos just lose something important of Lapis's, like an important memory? Yes, we're so very sorry. Now we just have to deal with the emotional trauma Pain-gorms. That is. Emotional trauma Pain-gorms, that is. Ah, I remember now that you always had a way of... No, I can't take it anymore. Pain-gorm's just cranky from sleepiness and fatigue. Alright, thanks everyone. It's starting to get dark, so let's call it a day. Thanks for your help. Wait, so did Sensei get rid of the Lunarians? Yep, he did his little fling bits of himself at him. I mean, at the... Yeah, fling bits of himself at the Lunarians. Maybe that's what Phos got hit by, Sensei's bits. I'm going to search in the ocean a little longer. Would you leave the waterproof resin here for me? Will you be okay by yourself? Everything will be fine. I'm keeping an eye on Phos. Are you really? Pain-gorm is just so emotionally distraught. At once again, almost losing Phos, or really Lapis's head, or both. You know, I'm sure they care about both equally. Here we go. They might just remember their humanity, their connection to humanity. An old tale I heard in a distant sea. I wonder what it was. Okay, and now that their hair is sort of back to more Phos length hair, it's a little bit less jarring. If I heard it, that must mean I was talking to someone. No, maybe I was just listening, but it means I was with someone far away in the ocean, someone who knows about the distant past. Someone who went to the moon? That's a possibility since I can't ask them again, and now it's something only I know. Alright, the holes in the Lunarians' necks. I wonder if I'm the only one who's noticed those too. I hadn't heard anything about them from Lex or Sensei. It's... Oh my gosh, this is just this crazy thing that just occurred to me. So the holes in the necks kind of implies that they have attached, like the heads they have been attached. And I don't know if it's somehow connected to all of the gems that have been taken. So are they somehow images of the gems' heads? The gems that have been taken and their heads have somehow been attached to the Lunarian body. Oh, I don't know. Maybe, oh god no. This must be what Lapis was saying about not being able to stop thinking. This is serious. I can definitely see how it would get a gem shot in the middle of battle. All this thinking, all these things called thoughts. An old tale. Oops, I have to look at my hair. Holes. Hair? Wait, who's saying that? Yeah, hair. Is something else talking to Phos now? What is that, like a huge piece of coral? something to do with the ice. Like, so when winter goes away and then the water defrosts again, the ice floes have to go somewhere, right? End of chapter 48. Oh man, it's so hard not to keep going, but I think this is going to be such a long video. All right, I gotta gather my thoughts and then I'll toss it to you guys. There's just so much that happened in these 4 chapters. All right, guys, you know the drill. I am going to throw out some very quick thoughts and questions and then have at it in the comments. I'm really looking forward to what you guys thought about the events of these last few chapters. I don't even have a full grasp really of the significance of the events or the big reveals that we got, but for now, just a few initial thoughts. First, I'm going to start with Morga and Goshen. It's interesting that the comment was made about how rare it is for gems of the same material to be born again. And I don't know, but for some reason I feel like that stuck out as something to definitely remember for later. Because it's such an unusual event, it makes me think that maybe something has changed on the shore of nascency. Of course, it was devastating when Phos found out that it wasn't actually the old Morga and Goshen that they were talking to, and them reflecting on how mean Morga was done in such an affectionate way, and bringing back the enso circle symbolism about this endless cycle of beginnings and endings and beginnings. How poetic is it that this Morga ends up looking up to Phos as opposed to old Morga who looked down upon Phos. Secondly, Lapis Lazuli. I love Lapis from what we have seen of them in Phos's dreams and also in the way that they've changed how Phos thinks, like literally about everything, from just being so much more aware of the surroundings and the book knowledge and the battle awareness, and well, most importantly, the way that they too were questioning the war and looking into things and sort of analyzing why it is that they're fighting this war and why Sensei has hidden certain things from them. I love Lapis's razor sharp way of analyzing what's going on, and this focus on critical thinking ability is exactly what Phos needed to be able to progress on their mission to both find out the truth and also to figure out a way of recovering the gems that have been taken from them from the moon. That Lapis had pretty positive things to say actually about Phos is also super interesting, given how all of the other gems, like pre-transformation Phos, had completely dismissed them as a very useless gem. And again, that's just Lapis's sharp observation skills coming into play, noticing things that other gems would not notice, noticing that Phos's super adaptable inclusions means that they're more able to preserve their own sense of self and the outlines of their memories despite losing so much of their original phosphofolate. And also having like close to 12 different minerals just fused onto them. Cairngorm, I feel like probably the one suffering the most these last few chapters, having to see Lapis's head be desecrated in a way at first by the shallowness of Phos and the complete lack of intellectual aura, which in the end was partially rectified when obviously the infusions of both Lapis and Phos were more integrated into each other. I do feel though that when Lapis did start showing up more in Phos's words and actions, that probably was more painful or disturbing than the complete lack of Lapis aura. Because again, as I said, it's more difficult to see someone using the body of a person that you love so much and yet it's not them at all. On top of that, Cairngorm once again had to deal with brash Phos jumping right into the middle of a Lunarian sunspot, this time dragging along two little babies with them. So yeah, Pain-gorm's just pain all the way, and I don't think it's gonna let up anytime soon. Finally, well, not really finally, because I am positive that like 1,000 other things are gonna occur to me as soon as I stop recording. But the observation that Lapis/Phos made about the Lunarians having these little pinholes in their necks that make sounds, and that is possibly how they communicate with each other, was really fascinating. And again, I think this is going to be something that leads to a bigger reveal down the track. All in all, the process of these last few chapters of getting used to Phos within your head was actually a little easier than I expected, largely because there was this whole part at the beginning where it was clearly still Phos in that body and still being a bit of a superficial airhead. That, I feel, made it slightly easier to accept. I am glad we established that Phos's memories are still fairly intact and actually possibly even more sharper than before, now that they're armed with Lapis's intellect and observational abilities. So I am curious in the next few chapters where this unique fusion of gems is going to lead in terms of what they do with the knowledge that they seem to be recovering about the origin story of the gems. So until next reading, guys, make sure you're taking care of yourselves, and I cannot wait for more mind-bending discussions around Houseki no Kuni in the comments.